In order for every learner to succeed, they must be immersed in an environment for learning that meets their needs and have access to instruction and content that is aligned to grade level standards. This section introduces what we're going to refer to as optimal learning environments. We will be returning to optimal learning environments often today and throughout the Institute, so this is meant to be a brief discussion. As you consider an optimal learning environment and what that means to you, I want to take about 2 or 3 minutes for you to brainstorm in groups. We're going to do some breakout groups for you to brainstorm a few ideas based on your experiences. Um, and you'll share out those characteristics that you feel are necessary to create the optimal learning environment for every student. So we're going to take about 3 minutes in our breakout rooms. You're going to discuss those characteristics in your groups. We're going to come back, and one person from each of the groups will present the share out for characteristics of an optimal learning environment. That was an amazing share out. You guys did an awesome job, and you named so many pieces that are already here. So, what I'm introducing you to now is NTC's optimal learning environment that we will use with our teachers in getting them to understand what it means and some of the characteristics that are part of those domains. So, as you see, there are 3 domains. Domain one, create emotionally, intellectually, and physically safe environments. Domain two, implement equitable, culturally responsive, and standards aligned curriculum and instruction. And domain three, meet the diverse needs of every learner. You will also see a lot of characteristics that go along with each of those domains of things that you should see in the classroom, certain systems, certain ways of expression, and etc. for each of those domains. I want to share with you a quick way. I've seen sometimes coaches kind of shy away from using the optimal learning environment and some of the language because everything here sometimes you can kind of get a little bit lost. So I just want to share with you one way that I have seen the optimal learning environment be introduced to teachers so that it really supports them being able to have valuable discourse on what those characteristics are and how they might implement some of those things into their lesson planning to provide the optimal learning environment for their students in that particular domain. So, the first thing is to completely cover up those characteristics and only have the teacher focus on the domains individually. And you'll find out what their focus is simply by asking them which one of these domains resonates the most with you, given consideration to the current status of your classroom. And so they'll tell you one of these, and then you will chunk it even further to cover the other domains that were not selected and really focus on the selected domain and the characteristics. Really talk to the teacher and ask them, what parts of their lesson address leveraging individual student strengths, or creating multiple pathways, create promoting learner agency and feedback that is strategic, um, any opportunities for self-directed learning, scaffolding instruction, and so on, as you see. But that really allows you to dig deeper into the content, how not only, yes, we've got to meet those standards, but what practices are being embedded so that you have not only academic success, social emotional success, and you're building community in your classroom. So that's just one way. You guys have had some amazing ideas about what the optimal learning environment is, what it means to have one in a classroom, what you see when you um, see the optimal learning environment in effect, and active with your teachers. So I want to thank you for your attentiveness. We will continue to discuss the optimal learning environment. My biggest thing is that even though you might shy away from it, I hope that we've discussed some ways that you'll feel more comfortable implementing it, because addressing the optimal learning environment part is such a big part of meeting every student's needs. And if we can just find our way around that language to truly advocate for students using this verbiage and using making sure that we're reflecting on those characteristics and whether or not we see them in practice every day, our conversations will become so much more meaningful, um, and value added for students. Thank you so much for your time today.